Back at it with another Monday. We are talking all things KC with Mayor Quinton Lucas. Mayor Lucas, the city is moving to rename Avenida Cesar E. Chavez after serious allegations, and there's even a street renaming task force reviewing honors across Kansas City. But Kansas Citians have been asking for years, if we're willing to revisit Chavez, why hasn't there been the same urgency with Troost, the historic redlining divider tied to a slave owner? How can we explain that to Kansas Citians who have been waiting on that conversation for a long time?
I think there are a few differences that I would see with both of them. First of all, there has been a long-term conversation with Troost. The conversation with Avenida Cesar Chavez is just now starting. And so we haven't seen a change yet. You will see folks go through the same community engagement, see what neighbors on the street think, listen to new proposals, much the same way that the Troost conversation has proceeded. What I have said since we went through our earlier Martin Luther King renaming is let's make sure that we engage people all the way up and down the street, making sure that you're getting what the costs are to it. What do the people in the community think? There is, of course, a longer history of Troost Avenue in Kansas City than Cesar Chavez that I believe was renamed in the 1990s. But at the same time, we're going to look to do that level of community engagement. What you did not see was last week, immediately after allegations, the street name change. What you did see was that there were discussions about it in the same way we've had with Troost, the same way we've had with Blue Parkway, Paseo in the years before and beyond. I expect us to go through the right process because I know there are a lot of things that people want to do and want to change. At the same time, a lot of other people are saying, look, I ain't trying to change my mail. I'm not trying to change my business location. And we're going to make sure we hear from all of them and hear them out.
Mayor Lucas, I'm assuming, I can't see you on my side, but I'm assuming you may or may not have your royal blue on getting ready for opening day at the K. Now, there's about 4 more seasons of Royal baseball to be played at the K, or there's still desires and expectations to have that stadium built downtown to mimic cities like our STL neighbors, having that ballpark village at Busch Stadium.
I think there is still that plan. Look, the Royals have been pretty clear on what they want to do, and that is a new stadium, a new downtown type facility. They have said that 6 ways to Sunday. I know that there are forever Kauffman Stadium people. I know there's another set of the city that say we shouldn't give a dime to anybody looking to build a new stadium. My view is Kansas City will continue to be competitive. We look to St. Louis, you look to Pittsburgh, Minneapolis, a whole bunch of spots, Cincinnati, that have ballparks downtown, ballparks that help stimulate a lot of other development activity. Does that mean you give away the farm like Kansas is currently doing for the Chiefs? I think not. You are not going to see a $3 billion state and city incentive to try to keep a team somewhere. But at the same time, I think what you will see is us do important work to find a way to keep our team staying and to keep it in a community where you can get more secondary benefits. People going to bars afterwards, people filling up restaurants, more workers having access there in a way that we don't currently have with the Harry S. Truman Sports Complex. So I expect that to be resolved somewhat soon. I'm excited about it. But in the meantime, I'm going to love these final seasons out at Kauffman Stadium, which has been the stadium, of course, my entire lifetime.
Shout out to the Kansas Cousins, but they definitely said by any means necessary.
They sure did. They sure did.
You've announced a new intimate partner violence intervention program aimed at stepping in earlier, holding abusers accountable, and supporting victims before things escalate. What makes this program different from the others in the past and other programs in other cities?
What I think makes this difference, I'll just speak to Kansas City, is that we are actually doing it, right? Too often in the past, we have said that domestic violence, intimate partner violence is something that cannot be prevented. And as we see more tragedies, as we see more homicides relating to it, particularly in parts of our city that don't see a lot of violent crimes, I think we all recognize we need to stand together and that there is a path to prevention. It is getting counseling for those who are victims, survivors, but also for offenders so that they do not reoffend. It is making sure that there is family counseling. It is making sure that there are very real consequences for those who are engaged in this type of violence. We're making sure from the prosecutor's office, the police department, and our nonprofit partners that everybody gets that there is something that we can do, that we must make sure that we have resources for families. And I am incredibly proud of the work that everybody's doing together to try to save lives, particularly women and families, but everyone who finds themselves in this tragic type of circumstance.
And then last thing, breaking news, you announced that you will not file as a candidate for Missouri's 4th Congressional District. What ultimately led to that decision for you?
I got a lot of work to do. I think, first of all, the redistricting of our congressional seats, which let's just be clear, the goal is to try to drive Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver, our former mayor, our long-term congressman, out of office. It will try to make sure that there will not be Black electeds, Democratic electeds in Western Missouri anymore. My fight is going to be fighting against the maps, fighting for Congressman Cleaver. I'm not going to spend my time doing a whole lot of other things. Instead, I'm going to be the mayor of Kansas City and fight for the people in Kansas City. I think Mark Alford, who will now represent half of Kansas City if these maps hold, owes a lot to us, needs to prove why he should even be close to our United States Congress seat for Kansas City. But for now, my work is going to be in another area. And I will say this, for politics, I'm fairly young. In life, I feel young, but for politics, I really am. So I got time to make a difference. I can run for other things in 2028 and thereafter. But I got a lot of time left as mayor of Kansas City, talking to y'all, making sure we get stuff done. And we're going to continue making progress and standing up for the people.
Period.
Thank you, Mayor Lucas. We appreciate you, and go Royals. We'll holler
Let's
at you
go
next
Royals.
week.
All right, let's go. We'll see y'all.